The silence inside the historic courtroom was almost overwhelming. Every seat was occupied. Journalists leaned forward with notebooks ready. Television cameras waited outside the building, broadcasting every development to millions around the world. At the center of the room stood a dispute unlike any the public had imagined. One side claimed that generations of royal tradition should remain untouched. The other insisted that changing times demanded new interpretations of long-standing customs. Nobody expected what happened next. Princess Anne slowly rose from her seat. The room fell completely silent. She wasn't known for dramatic speeches. Throughout her life, she had earned a reputation for discipline, duty, and speaking only when absolutely necessary. That was exactly why everyone listened. Her calm expression revealed little, but her words carried remarkable weight. "This is not about personalities," she began. "It is about protecting history, responsibility, and the promises that every generation inherits." The courtroom remained frozen. Across the aisle, members of the opposing legal team exchanged uneasy glances. Outside, reporters rushed to update newsrooms across Britain. Social media erupted with speculation within minutes. Was this the beginning of a constitutional turning point? Or simply another chapter in an increasingly complicated fictional royal family saga? No one knew. The dispute centered on Balmoral, a beloved estate that had represented continuity, family traditions, and private moments away from public life for generations. Within this fictional story, questions had emerged about who should oversee its future, how its legacy should be preserved, and whether long-standing customs should evolve with changing times. Different opinions quickly transformed into legal arguments. What began as private conversations eventually reached the courtroom. Observers expected polite exchanges between lawyers. Instead, they witnessed something entirely unexpected. Princess Anne herself requested permission to address the court. Every journalist present immediately recognized the significance. Throughout decades of public service, Anne had rarely stepped into public controversy. Her reputation rested on quiet consistency rather than headlines. That made every sentence feel even more important. She spoke carefully. "Our responsibility," she said, "is never measured by what benefits individuals today. It is measured by what survives for generations tomorrow." Her statement echoed throughout the chamber. Several spectators nodded. Others simply stared. The fictional judge thanked her before allowing proceedings to continue. Meanwhile, the opposing legal representatives argued that traditions could not remain frozen forever. They insisted that every institution must adapt if it hopes to survive. Their presentation was polished. Charts appeared. Historical precedents were discussed. Legal experts cited fictional documents dating back centuries. For hours, arguments continued. Yet public attention remained fixed on one question. Would Princess Anne speak again? As recess approached, journalists flooded the courthouse entrance. Microphones appeared from every direction. Experts on television debated possible outcomes. Commentators offered wildly different predictions. Some believed the dispute would be resolved quietly. Others insisted it might reshape the future of the fictional monarchy forever. Inside the courtroom, however, emotions remained carefully controlled. No raised voices. No dramatic confrontations. Only measured statements delivered with precision. Then came the afternoon session. The opposing counsel introduced new documents they claimed supported their interpretation of long-standing estate management traditions. Gasps spread across the public gallery. Even seasoned reporters exchanged surprised looks. Had the balance suddenly shifted? Princess Anne calmly reviewed the papers. She whispered briefly with her legal advisors. Several tense minutes passed. Finally, she stood once more. "If I may," she requested. Permission was granted. She approached the lectern without haste. Every camera focused on her. "In every generation," she began, "there comes a moment when preserving trust becomes more important than winning arguments." The words were simple, yet they immediately became the headline of the day. Across Britain, fictional news broadcasts replayed the statement repeatedly. Political commentators debated its meaning. Royal historians discussed its historical parallels. Citizens shared clips across social media. Within hours, The courtroom exchange had become the nation's biggest story. Still, the legal questions remained unresolved. As proceedings continued, additional witnesses described Balmoral not merely as valuable property, but as a place filled with family memories, national symbolism, and decades of tradition. That perspective changed the atmosphere. The dispute no longer appeared to concern ownership alone. Instead, it became a discussion about stewardship, responsibility, and the meaning of legacy. Princess Anne listened carefully. Occasionally, she made handwritten notes. Her expression rarely changed. Yet observers sensed determination behind her calm demeanor. Even those who disagreed with her fictional legal position acknowledged the composure she displayed throughout the proceedings. Outside the courthouse, crowds continued growing. Supporters of different viewpoints gathered peacefully. Some carried flags. Others simply hoped to witness history unfold. Television helicopters circled overhead. International media organizations arrived from around the world. The fictional hearing had become global news. Back inside, the judge announced that additional evidence would be reviewed before any ruling could be considered. That meant another day of arguments. Another day of uncertainty. Another day of intense public interest. As everyone prepared to leave, one veteran journalist quietly remarked to a colleague, "This case may ultimately be remembered less for its verdict than for the questions it forces everyone to ask. Questions about tradition. Questions about responsibility. Questions about the balance between history and the future." Princess Anne exited without making further comments. She acknowledged no cameras. She offered no interviews. She simply walked toward her waiting vehicle with the same composed determination that had characterized her entire fictional appearance in court. But behind the courthouse doors, one final document had just been submitted. Its contents remained sealed. Even the lawyers appeared surprised. Whispers immediately spread through the corridors. Reporters noticed the sudden change in expressions. Something unexpected had happened. Nobody knew whether the mysterious filing would strengthen one side or completely transform the fictional case. The judge glanced briefly at the sealed envelope before announcing that proceedings would resume the following morning. With that single statement, anticipation reached its highest point yet. The courtroom emptied. The cameras continued rolling. And the world was left wondering what extraordinary revelation might emerge when the hearing resumed. As dawn broke over the courthouse, anticipation reached a fever pitch. The sealed document was finally opened, and every eye in the room fixed on the judge. Rather than delivering a dramatic victory for either side, the filing called for a thorough historical review of the estate's fictional governance before any decision could be made. Princess Anne remained composed, offering only a brief nod to her legal team. Outside, reporters declared that the story was far from over. Whatever the final outcome, one thing was certain. This fictional courtroom battle over Balmoral had become a defining chapter in an unforgettable royal drama.